Good, thank you, McLeod. Good afternoon, everyone. My name's Esstin. I'm from the Mississauga First Nations. I do a lot of holistic healing work. Thank you for inviting me to be a part of this this conference. And today's topic is looking at restoring healthy strategies, plant-based remedies for diabetes and pain management. I like looking at it from a holistic approach to personal healing and wellness. So how do we change the
Just
go down
cue
to the
me,
next-
Esstin.
Oh, okay. Next
Same
slide.
thing.
Next slide, please. So probably one of the other important facets when it does come to our people as Anishinaabe people, we are looking at chronic ailments, chronic diseases. So a lot of times, a lot of the chronic ailments is having to deal with diabetes. So connecting the plant-based remedies, making the connections with the physical ailments and diabetes. Type 1 is the beginning stages. So there are prevention techniques that you can use, plant therapies, combinations that you can use. Type 2 prevention techniques, pain management. This is probably where we start to really look at a lot of the chronic ailments that come in for the body. And type 3, this is one that they just recently came up with. They're saying that this one leads to dementia. So we're looking at the different levels of diabetes. Next one. Next slide. Okay, thank you. Daily living practices, when we're looking at the stressors of life and how we're looking at how that can be a part of management, making management a part of who we are. And so a lot of times we really don't know how to manage because we grew up with our parents and our grandparents, and a lot of times it was a lot of learned behaviors. So we ended up with a lot of these learned behaviors. Our finances are not that great. We either monthly living allowances, so we have limited financial resources. Relationships, we have a lack of communication. Sometimes there's dynamics within the family unit that we're separated. Our careers, our skill development for life purposes. Sometimes we have a hard time with that as well. Spiritual development. Growing up, probably the majority of us went to church. So we didn't practice our spirituality. So it's hard for us to go in that direction. So we have to look at a lot of the restrictions for when it comes to our health. So one of the other areas is to visit your healthcare practitioner on a regular basis and to check for high blood pressure, blood restrictions, blood clots leading to stroke and heart attacks. Whoa, you're going too fast. Go back to the other one. Go back. No, you're going ahead. Go back. Thank you. Okay, thank you. So your practitioner will help you to check out your foot sores, your edema, and sore back. There's all kinds of remedies for a lot of these symptoms, a lot of these physical symptoms. Okay, next one. Now, this is what I like teaching, probably what I find interesting, what I find easy for us to look at is the medicine wheel teachings. It's coming in from holistic approach to healing. So we're learning a balanced lifestyle that promotes changes within the 4 stages of being, which is your emotional, physical, spirit. Go back. Go back to the other slide. No. Okay, thank you. No. There you go. So with the 4 stages of being emotionally, physically, spiritually, and mental. So we're looking at this the holistic health theory for health and healing. Plant therapy. I've used a lot of plants for remedies. Looking at neuropathy, looking at the kidneys, looking at the liver, looking at the pancreas, and looking at the heart. So the plant therapy can use as prevention, intervention, and treatment. Prevention. Okay. Holistic practice.
I'm so sorry, I didn't touch anything. My mouse did something crazy.
I know it's going crazy here. I'm thinking, okay, you're going too fast.
Is this the slide you'd like?
Yes, please. Thank you. When you're using plant therapy as prevention, it will help to restore balance to the body. When you're looking at the intervention techniques, what it will do, it will boost up your immune system. And if you're looking at it as treatment, the treatment in itself usually will last for about 3 to 4 months. And this is again, where we're maintaining a healthy and restoring the blood sugar levels. We're restoring neuropathy that is causing a lot of pain to the feet. We're looking at the sore backs. We're also looking at sometimes you get really bad, severe headaches. So a lot of times the treatment in itself will last from anywhere from 4 to 6 months. Next one. When we are looking at the correlation with the 4 directions, the medicine wheel teachings, we're also looking at that spiritual development. And then we're looking at the holistic health. The spiritual development, usually it's because there's a side of you that comes in and it promotes a totally different change in your behavior patterns. So the your spiritual development is an integrative process that encourages self-awareness to developing and deepening spiritual healing practices with others, creation, and the creator. Working with spiritual tools that will assist with restoring a personal belief in spiritual practices. Working at the spiritual developmental level is probably something that we all are looking towards. And I know a lot of times when you are looking in that direction, when you're using plant therapy, you're also going to be using tobacco. So this tobacco is used to, when you're picking your medicines, or if you're going to see a healer, or if you're going to be working with other individuals, that tobacco is passed like that. Now, the holistic health, that's your emotional, mental, spiritual, and the physical character attributes that are related to the individuals to change and a desired state of well-being. So we completely understand who we are and others. Next. The holistic practice, the medicine wheel teachings. You know, the ceremonies, when we go to our ceremonies, we listen to those teachings. Life flows from the east to the west. We're born in the east, and when we expire, we go to that western doorway. All life flows in a circle. According to our Anishinaabe teachings, we come into this life from the eastern doorway. Our journey on the life path begins. Our journey on the life path begins in this direction. And as we depart, we exit out of the western doorway. we travel from the east to the west. And during that time, we can go on the right side or we go on the left side. So a lot of times if we have that spiritual practice, then we're able to walk that road in a good way. The medicine wheel, we have the eastern doorway, southern doorway, western doorway, northern doorway. The eastern doorway, Wabanang, southern doorway, Jawanang, western doorway, Pigishmuk, and northern doorway, Giwenang. Next. The holistic practice for personal understanding. Lifestyle acknowledgements, we go through the life path. There's 7 times on the life path. When you're born, 0 to 7, 7 to 14, 14 to 21, 21 to 28, 28 to 35. They are reflective of the 7 stages of life. We are born with special gifts. We are born with special gifts, and it's up to us to really develop those special gifts and to understand what our life purpose is. We are always retracing our steps on the medicine wheel, healing the old wounds emotionally, mentally, spiritually, and physically. We have tools that we are given either from the spirit world or from our mentors or from our teachers. And this is what is used to help to restore a balanced way of living. The ultimate goal is to have happiness with the spiritual connections with the Creator, creation, and others. Next. Now, understanding the lifestyle connections, and I have always pondered on this one, is diabetes grief. Where I work at the clinics, a lot of the people are diabetics. Through the residential schools, through the day schools, the 60 scoops. We have that understanding that when they were taken away from their parents, that they lack the parental involvement during the developmental stages of their life. So 0 to 14, 0 to 7, 7 to 14. There was rarely any parental involvement during those times. The lack of proper nutritional foods, vitamins and nutrients. I'm a very big advocate for vitamins and minerals and the nutrients. The grief, living in those residential schools or going to day schools. There was a lot of physical violence, a lot of sexual abuse, emotional neglect, the lack of spiritual development, bullying, and intimidation. And out of that, we learned those negative behavior patterns. So we lost a lot of the hunting skills, fishing skills. We lost a lot of that. And then the majority of the time, because we're looking for happiness in our lives, we tend to resort to emotional eating just to find happiness. Next one. It's a healing process for change. In Anishinaabe medicine plants, remedies, they allow for a process in the following areas. Physical ailments of the body, the medicines, the chemical compounds from the medicines go directly into the body. Spiritual development of the individual. When you're done drinking your remedies, you take your medicine outside, you put it down and you put your tobacco down and give thanks for the healing that you're doing. The emotional release of past regression. A lot of times, due to the grief, we carry with us a lot of that grief. The intellectual healing of the mind, we end up changing a lot of our old behavior patterns. And it's a holistic approach to personal healing. So it becomes very, very personal for you after a while. Next. It's a holistic philosophy for searching for personal wellness, the holistic philosophy for change. And the Anishinaabe medicine people understood the holistic philosophy of healing and assisted individuals who were in a healing crisis to seeking the wellness. So when you went to go see a medicine person, they did their own personal assessments, and they assisted you in discovering what was going on with you at that time. So when they had really assisted in helping you to discover, then they knew exactly what it was that they were working with. Searching for wellness, the path of healing experiences provided meaning and explanations for illnesses and can offer treatment, prevention, and management for pain. You know, diabetes is, I say you got to work on your blood, you got to bring down your sugar levels, you have to work on the pancreas, you have to work on the liver, and then you have to work on the heart. So the remedies were used internally and externally for a duration time of 7 days. Next. The plant combinations for managing diabetes symptoms. The low blood sugars, sweating, you have your diabetic sweating, insomnia. You can look at the red raspberry leaves, the yarrow leaves and flowers, the clover flowers and the chamomile flowers. These ones will all work together for managing the diabetes symptoms. Stomach problems, bloating, flatulence, sweet fern, wild mint, and yarrow. Kidney problems. Sometimes the kidney problems lead to the vision, swollen feet. So then we're looking at the princess pine, wintergreen, bearberry, and Labrador tea. Heart problems, high blood pressure. We're looking at the hawthorn berries, but there are also other plants out there that work at helping to alleviate and to bring down the high blood pressure. So if you're looking at a lot of these plant combinations, they're probably working a lot with the blood. Next. Natural remedies used for foot cream pain management. Neuropathy. When we have neuropathy, or we get sores and they don't heal. We get carbuncles, anything that has to do with the feet. Sometimes your feet sweat at night when you're in bed, and sometimes your feet, you have problems moving your toes. So we're always looking at ways to remedy a lot of the pain that's in the feet. And you can tell people when they're just by the way they walk that they're in a lot of pain with their moving their legs or moving their feet. So this is a pain management cream that I've how would you say experienced, explored, worked with. So I looked at the cedar tips, the white pine tips, the tamarack tips, and the black spruce. This is pain management. So these are the remedies when you're putting them on your feet. It helps to alleviate a lot of the pain. And you can also rub this on your knees, around your knees. And then a lot of people have knee problems. They have pain in the knees, and it will help. It will help to alleviate that pain. Next. Go back one. There. So you're going to be able to consult with the medicine practitioner when you're using your plant therapies. You consult with the healer when practicing healing techniques. You can also consult with your primary care healthcare doctor when you're searching for a proper diagnosis to the physical symptoms. And you're going to consult with the mental health when dealing with mental health ailments. So it's always best to make arrangements with I'm going to say a circle of care. Always when you are looking at helping to find ways to manage your diabetes. Next. Now, because I said earlier I was into the vitamins and the minerals, I've had success with prescribing the vitamins and the minerals. So looking at how the vitamins in themselves, how they work for the body. And usually the majority of the time I'll have the individuals take them for about 2 weeks, because it takes that time. It has that length of time for the vitamins to get into your body. And remember that when you were in residential schools or day schools, we didn't get the proper vitamins or minerals. We didn't even get the proper foods to eat. So that those behavioral symptoms were passed down from our parents, our grandparents. So we didn't have the proper vitamins and minerals. And through some of the clients that I do have prescribing the vitamins and the minerals, they felt the changes in their bodies. So vitamin A, and this goes to speak to what the body needs. The B vitamins B1. That's what it does. It helps the functions of the cells on the inside of the kidneys. Next one. B3, B6, and B12. I always like these B vitamins because what they do is they help the body. They help the mind. They feed the mind. And they help so that they're also working on the blood, but they're also working on the different cell structure, the blood, the bones, the tissues on the all on the inside of the body. Vitamin C. When you first start taking your vitamin C, go back. Okay. Thank you. So when you go back, sorry, when you're doing your vitamin C, I always tell people start off with 1,000 milligrams. Women need that to, if you're tired all the time, if you're sleepy, if you're not having a good time, if you're not enjoying your life, 1,000 milligrams, this is again, will help the body to function. You're always looking at ways to help your body function, to boost up your immune system. And this is what vitamin C does. Next. Vitamin D, vitamin E, and collagen. We're always looking for ways to support the heart function. Vitamin D and vitamin E will help to support heart function. The collagen, what it does, it helps the body to move through, I guess you could say, healing. So when you're going through that healing with the joint pain, with anything that has to do with mobility, collagen will help the body to do that. Next one. Practice using your vitamins for at least 2 weeks, slowly building into the body once per day, usually before breakfast. The food will help the vitamins to digest easily into the body system. Wait 2 weeks and then resume vitamin intake. Medicinal plants and vitamins, they follow a process. Your body needs to be able to heal. Your body also needs to be able to have a good immune system. So when we start following those different regimes for taking care of ourselves, then we're able to, I guess you could say, as we age, as we get older, we're able to take care of our body in a good way. So this is part of the prevention practices. Next one. So this is what I would say probably a healing path to follow. Trained healers, we're looking at trained healers. And those are the ones that understand the process, because you have to be able to have a process in place. And you also have to be able to have an assessment tool. So the medicine wheel is used as an assessment tool. So in the 4 directions, you're talking about the mind, the body, the emotions, and the spirit. So using that as an assessment tool, you're able to identify where you're lacking a lot of your own personal support systems. You're also able to identify the physical body structure and where the pain is on the inside of the body as well. The process of healing is a commitment to self when moving in a positive direction. You know, we're always looking for ways to make those changes. But if we don't have that support system in place, we can't move in a positive direction. So even working with a mental health worker, a doctor, primary care health doctor, even a massage therapist, foot care, all these healing modalities, they all come together. So we have a path that we tend to follow, and then we discover what really works for us. So learning about self and relationship to others will assist with restoring a really different attitude. So you start to make those necessary changes. Next one. Plant therapy generates healing for the body in many ways. I like the plants. I've always liked the plants. I probably studied the plants, well, they said 30 years, 30 plus years at home in my Tossawin. Tossawin is cupboard. There's just all kinds of just dried herbs that I've gone out to pick and store them myself. And so when I had gone out to go and pick, it was seasonal. So you got to know the seasons as to when the plants in themselves are ready to be picked. The drying process in itself, when the drying process. So all this is probably a lifestyle that you tend to start to understand when you start getting into the plants. Combinations, plant remedies, plant combinations. That's one of the processes in itself, and knowing the diseases and how the remedies themselves work with certain diseases. Then again, you're looking at the creams, the different types of creams. You're looking at the creams that will help to get rid of eczema. You're looking at the creams that will help to get rid of the creams that will help to get rid of eczema. I said eczema, but all the blood in itself that will help to heal the body. You're looking at poison ivy, creams that will get rid of the poison ivy, the psoriasis, and that will help to heal. But the majority of the time, what externally is happening internally on the body system. So again, that's where the remedies, when you start taking the remedies, they start to heal the organs on the inside of the body. And so when it's healing the inside, it'll go through the skin, and the remedies that are for the cream will heal the external ailments of psoriasis, and it'll heal the eczema. Next. Oh, where's the other piece? The last one.
Just a second. I don't know. The slide deck has a mind of its own here, Esstin. I
Okay.
wasn't even touching the computer at all.
Oh, no, it just kept going by
I think it
itself.
had an automatic setting on it. So I apologized for that. I was, not touching anything at
Okay.
all. Just getting you set back up here for your last slide.
Okay.
There we go.
Okay. When I started going into the plants, when I started going into the medicines, my uncle, Dan Pine Sr. from Garden River. And I spent that time with him, and I spent learning about the plants, and he wasn't the only one either at that time. So we would go into the bush and we would look at a lot of the medicines. And so when he would teach about the medicines, we'd pick the plants and we would take them and we would make combinations. And looking at the different combinations, you kind of know that it's part of that spiritual awareness, as well as that spiritual development. Those are things that when I started going to ceremonies, that you got to put those two together, because that describes who you are as Anishinaabe. So when it describes who you are as Anishinaabe with the medicines and that spiritual awareness. So that spiritual awareness in itself is really, really important, because it's that connection that brings you closer to creation, closer to the creator, and then closer to others. So those changes that you make, and even for myself, when I started learning about the medicines, the plants, I would see my grandmothers. They would have dried plants hanging up in their house, or you'd hear stories about the work that they have done using the plants. And I used to take pride in that. I said, oh, wow, that's awesome. So I would take pride in hearing those stories coming in from my grandmothers, or my aunt would say, well, this is what your grandmother does. Do you do what your grandmother does? And she'll say, do you make that bud medicine? Do you do that? And I say, yeah. But see, when you don't have the physical human teacher, so then you have to go out into the bush and pick the plants and smell them and look at them and put it together. So you end up putting it all together. So you're learning the healing techniques coming in from the plants. And then my aunt would say, are you making that evergreen medicine? And that was the 7 pine medicine. And I thought, yeah, I'm doing that. I'm making the 7 pine medicine. And that was one of the things that my uncle always said, you got to make that 7 pine medicine. And I didn't know how to make it, but he would always talk about it. So by experiential learning, I ended up making the 7 pine medicine. And it was through my own sickness of having the flu that I ended up making the 7 pine medicine. So it was in the middle of January. I went to the bush, got all the tips of the trees from all the evergreens, went home, boiled it up, made tea out of it, drank it. I put maple syrup in there, put in the fridge, and I zipped on it for 2 days. After 2 days, I was healed. I thought, wow. So that's experiential learning. So then I ended up making it, and I taught others how to make it. Then I was looking at pain management for neuropathy. So then I ended up working with the indigenous diabetes, at the time, SODI, they had asked me, can you come in and do a workshop presentation? I said, okay. So I hopped on a plane. I had boxes of evergreen branches, different kinds. So I had boxes of all these evergreen branches, and I took them with me and put them on the plane and flew to Kenora. And that's the first place that we made the 7-pine cream for the neuropathy on the feet. And I had crock pots with me. I brought crock pots, I brought everything. And so the people there were making the 7-pine cream. So after they had made it, they took it home and they said that it worked. And I ended up running into one of the, not the instructors, but one of the workers. And she had come over. She says, can I talk to you for a minute? I said, sure. She said, you know, she said, I was at that workshop that you were at in Kenora. She said, and I brought home a jar of the 7-pine cream. She said, so when I brought it home, she said, I just left it in my cupboard. She said, and my father had sores on his feet. And they were worried about that because he would have had to go and get his feet amputated. She says, and he didn't want to get his toes amputated. So she said, and that I remembered, oh yeah, I have this cream that we made up in Kenora. So she ended up going home, getting the 7-pine cream, giving it to her dad, and he put it on his sores on his feet. She said it took 2 days, 3 days for the medicine to heal his feet. So he didn't have to go for an operation. He didn't have to do any of that cutting off his toes or anything like this. So he saved his feet. And I thought, that's a really good story. It's good to hear those stories when you know that the creams, the medicines, that they are working for our people. See, we're Anishinaabe people, and Creator gave us these medicines. So when the Creator gave us these medicines, it's through our mother, McLeod, that she gives the nutrients. She's doing her part. She's giving us the nutrients, the vitamins and the minerals for us to heal our body. So they're working together. And so when they're working together like that, we come here to enjoy our life, but we can't enjoy our life because we're able to live in two worlds. We live in the Western world and we live in our own world as Anishinaabe people. The Western world, yeah, we're trying to fit in. We are trying to fit in. They're not trying to fit into our world. We're trying to fit into their world, and we're having a really hard time. So we have to go back to our medicines. And when we go back to our medicines, that's our world that describes and that tells who we are as Anishinaabe people. And those are good things, because now you see women making beautiful skirts. Then you see the men with the ribbon shirts. That's who we are. It tells who we are. So that's who we are, is the connection to the creation, to the mother. When we do our ceremonies, we acknowledge those 4 directions. We acknowledge what it is and where we stand on our mother. So it's through that identification. So we're able to see that, we're able to feel that, and we're able to help when we can. You know, through my years of practice, it's looking for those medicine people that they come and be a part of how we're making and how we're moving in that direction. So I want to say, Chimigwech, and this is a quote from my my uncle. You know, I was doing some work and all of a sudden all these quotes come up and they were all from my uncle. I said, what the heck? What's going on here? These are quotes from the Elders Gathering in Dreamers Rock in 1989. And I looked at that and I thought, wow. So they just came up on my computer screen. So this is part of the quote. We believe that herbalism is a beautiful lens with which to look at and culture, where we value elders, traditions, cuisines. Food is our medicine, and herbal medicine with a connection to the land. You know, I'm very grateful for those teachings, and I'm very grateful to be a teacher, Kinamagekwe. So I'm very grateful to do that. And I think that it's wonderful to do presentations like this so that this information gets out there. It may not be intense or where you're learning what you need to learn, but it's creating that awareness. So we do need to become educated. We do need to have that understanding that we live in two worlds. We do live in the Western world and we live in our world. And it'll take our world as Anishinaabe people to not to overcome the Western world, but to find our own way. And once we find our own way, we find that connection to our land. And that's to be the importance of who we are. Now, miigwech.
Esstin, absolutely wonderful. And I love your laugh at the end.
Thank you.
Estin, there's a lot of comments and questions. You ready for this one?
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so here we go. Yeah, of course, right there. Right there. Teresa, early on at 117, she's greeting you. And she says, I've been experiencing a lot of pain in my feet, in the forefoot and sole of my feet, especially at night when I crawl into bed. What would you recommend she do to alleviate the tingling pain in her feet that she's experiencing? Any considerations for her?
Yeah, that's neuropathy that she's got in her feet, eh? You know, the remedy that I gave for the foot cream, she can use that remedy for her feet. And she can start probably at the back of the knees and motion down so that it goes down the feet and it'll go right into her heels. And if she can make that medicine, because the remedy was there, she can put that cream onto her feet at night and maybe get an old pair of socks so that it'll keep the cream and inside the feet, and that medicine will go saturated onto her heels and her feet.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. You've really inspired a lot of people just looking through the chat. People are like, how can I learn? What can I do to learn? And so, you know, like when you're, and you know what, I just like gotta say this, but when you're surrounded and you're with greatness, you inspire people to want to learn something new and to be better. So like the people are really inspired right now. What could you say would be a good first step for people to learn more about this and to maybe become, whether a practitioner, but to just be able to be more aware of plant and these type of healing properties?
You know, I'm a very strong advocate for our medicine people. I'm a very strong advocate for our healers. I'm a very strong advocate for traditional medicine. And at the moment, I'm teaching all these beautiful young healers here. Okay, they're all medicine people. They're making their shakers. They're making their tools, their healing tools. They're working with the plants. So this is what we're doing this afternoon. Now, I've recently started initiating a healing program for healers so that they can come to where I live. And then I'll be training them to be probably the next medicine people or being the healers. And so they're going to learn all the plants and they're going to learn combinations. And they're going to take all that information and go back home and start living in our own world as Anishinaabe people. We can work in the Western world, and the two of them are going to work together. They have to work together. So once they work together, we have a full rounded healthcare plan system in place. And it's beneficial. It'll be beneficial to Anishinaabe people to have that whole rounded plan of care in place. Because you already have your healthcare centers. I go in, do the healing with the plants, go and talk to the doctors, go in and talk to the mental health workers. So it's a rounded healthcare plan that's going to work for the people.
So Esstin, do you have your students or your helpers?
Yeah, you want to
Do
see
you
them?
have them with you? We'd love to. Yeah, could you turn
Okay,
your
right
camera?
on.
We really want to see it.
Yeah.
Show us your workshop. Hey, how's it going?
Oh.
You all look so beautiful and you all look so happy. If you don't mind, can I ask the group something? If that's okay,
Yeah, go
Esstin,
ahead.
do you mind?
Go ahead.
And whoever answers is gonna have to answer loud so we can hear you. How has this been for you over the course of the time that you spent with Esstin?
Oh, enlightening and spiritual. Transformational.
Go ahead, say it again.
Transformational.
Liberating.
So wonderful. So wonderful. My goodness, like, when I'm just like, how much time does this, whenever we learn something like this, it just can't be a workshop, like a 1 hour thing. And like, it takes time, right, Esstin? So like when people are talking about like learning this, tell people what to expect when you learn something like this. And I imagine it's a lifelong learning. And people need to commit a lot of time to this, correct?
When I started this probably about 10 years ago. But at the time when I started, I didn't have a big group like this. So I took time off. And then, so we started in July, August, September, and we did 3 days. Before I used to do 2 days, and 2 days was not enough. So working in July, August, and September, we were able to go into the bush, identify the plants. They were able to go in and pick their medicines. They were able to go in and put combinations together, and we made oxygen. We made the 7-pine cream. We made the cough medicine. We made hormonal medicine for when young girls started their cycles or women were going through menopause. So we did all that work. Now they're working on a spiritual, their tools. They're working, making their shakers. And that's part of that spiritual development. So they have to go through those different levels and different stages.
Wonderful. And where are you right now? Like, where is this training happening?
We're in Aurelia
Yes.
at the Best Western on Memorial Drive.
All right.
So we're working here and it's called the boat room. And we're in the boat room working in Aurelia.
You know, there's 242 people online right now. You may be having some guests popping in a few minutes.
240 what?
There's 242 people online right now.
Wow.
So you could have a couple of hundred visitors during break today. So watch out. Okay, get ready for that.
Come to the boat room in Aurelia.
Yeah, that's true. Bring a snack because there's not enough tea for everybody, right? Okay, I get it.
You know,
Esstin,
creator works in ways, okay? In steps, in processes, and this is what I'm finding out. So I started a nonprofit organization, and it's called Seven Pine Medicine Lodge. We started that last year, eh? So we're in the process of developing this medicine lodge where people can come and learn how to be medicine people.
hmm,
And we just got the road in probably this year. So we're looking at fully developing this beautiful place. So the healers, the medicine people can come and learn ceremonies. And prior to this, I was doing women's retreats. And I'm a pipe carrier. So we would have at least 8 to 9 women coming in who were all pipe carriers, but they didn't have a place to light their pipes. So we would light pipes and do ceremonies for 4 days. And they would learn medicine, and they would learn how to make their tobacco, and they would learn all these wonderful ways to do ceremonies. So that was part of that learning process in itself. Yeah, that's a lot of work, but
wow. Yeah,
that's only part of the work that I'm doing.
so how can people donate to this? I know people want to learn. I think myself, well, if you want to learn, maybe you can contribute a little bit, you know, and when the lodge is up running and the center's up running, and then that would be
Yeah.
you know, a way to do it, right? So how do people contribute to this?
Right now we're looking at monetary donations. I was in the States, and I attended this herbal fair, and they're herbologist. So they wanted to donate. So they had donated, they did a silent auction for the lodge. So that those funds will go towards helping to assist with the road in itself. We're setting up a email address. So, but you can send an email to redroad4@hotmail.ca.
Okay, so can somebody type that in the chat, please? That would be great.
Yeah.
Maybe like an EMT or something like that. So Esstin, we have so many. I'm slowly scrolling down the chat here, and there's like a number of things. There's like 3 little questions and comments and heart emojis, and then there's a little red tab that says how many comments are below that, and we're at 66. So there's a
Wow.
lot of comments and maybe a lot of questions as well for you, but we're not gonna keep you longer than you need to, I believe. We got about just under 10 minutes left on this, but we're gonna get you to get back to your group. Although I know they're probably really enjoying watching you in action right now.
They are. You're on the big screen over here too.
Okay.
Hold
So
on, I can show you.
let's see. Oh yeah, right there. Hello, Stan Wesley. There you go. Perfect. I was wondering if I was ever up on that screen. Esstin, do you mind if I ask you a few questions about certain, for example, somebody's asking about eczema. I think you might have mentioned that earlier. There's also someone's asking about fertility.
Yeah.
So like any teas or medicines for fertility?
Yep. You know what? I had a client who was trying to have a baby for a couple of years. And so she would go get the, what do you call that when you get IVF? And it didn't work. So she said, well, do you have any remedies? I said, yeah. I said, I got a remedy for you. So I gave her the remedy. Within a year, I would say I gave her the remedy in the fall time. By the springtime, she was pregnant.
Oh.
Yeah. But I also had to tell her, you got to have a lot of sex too.
Yeah, this isn't going to get you pregnant on its own, right?
They're all laughing over here.
Right. I
So
love
what
it.
what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna give the remedy, okay? For fertility. That's the red raspberry leaves, yarrow, purple clover flowers, black raspberry leaves, and yarrow. Did I say yarrow?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so what was it?
Red and black raspberry. Yarrow. What else? Purple.
Purple clover, yeah. And St. John's wort, okay? Yeah.
I don't know if we have good typers there, so if you heard that and type it in and throw it in the chat.
Yeah.
Thank you, Esstin. There's another question here in the Q&A portion of the platform, and they're asking about a COVID remedy or when you're experiencing COVID,
yes,
you
yes,
know,
I
like
have,
kind of help with some of the symptoms.
yeah, I do have a remedy for COVID. You know, before COVID came, 3 years ago, people were afraid, eh? I would get a lot of calls. I'm so scared, I'm so afraid, because I don't know if it's going to work. I don't. So the grounding cream, I just use the cedar and the white pine. So to make a cream out of that and put that on your feet, because your feet need to be grounded. Now with the COVID remedy that we have today, so people are always coughing, right? Or they're getting blood clots that go through the body. And this is this group here they have the remedy. They know what the remedy is, and we did go out and pick the medicines for the remedy for COVID. And everybody changes because everybody has a different remedy. So we're looking at mullein. Write that down. You got a pen? Stan? I'm just teasing you.
There's pens down. I'm sure there's pens somewhere. So go ahead.
So mullein is for the cough. What it does, it opens up the bronchial tubes on the inside of the lungs, the mullein. Then we're looking at, we went picking. This is the mullein plant. And then we have the yarrow. Yarrow acts as a natural steroid. And what it does, it helps the inflammation on the lungs. It also works on the blood clots because you need that medicine to work on the blood clots. This is oh, sorry, you can see this is the yarrow. Okay, that's the combination. These are good medicine pickers here too, eh? So when we went pick medicine, they all had good medicine picking. Now we're looking at wild mint, because you need something that's going to work on the lining, the inside of the stomach. So the wild mint will help to digest the medicine. It'll help to take out a lot of the I'm going to say the mucus, the fungus, and everything else that's on the inside of the stomach. All right. What else did it?
Did you say firewood?
Fire. Oh, no. Oh, sorry. Fireweed. You know, if you've seen that, if you were driving around, you would see that medicine all over the place. So fireweed, what it does, it pulls out the mercury, anything that's foreign inside the body. It will pull out that disease. It will pull it out of the body system. So if your body's having foreign substances, that medicine will pull it out. Joe Pye. Joe Pye is also called Queen of the Meadow. That will act as a stimulator. That's one of the helper plants that will act as a stimulator to the other plants. So that's the remedy for COVID.
Wow. I thought you were going to say when you're thinking about what am I missing? Oh yeah, lots of sex.
I know where your mind is at.
we're
No.
we're just a few minutes out here until we're gonna get you back to your wonderful, beautiful group. We do have a question, and it's regarding the Seven Pines.
Yep.
And so people are asking you if you can share what's in the Seven Pines, and is there anything other than, well, I guess ingredients into the Seven Pines?
You know, when I first started working with my uncle, Dan Bob Pine Sr., and he always says, you got to make that 7 pine. I said, well, how do you do it? Well, you'll know the process, because he didn't tell me how to do it, eh?
Yeah.
You'll know how to make it. I said, no, don't leave me alone. But I ended up making, and when I got sick, that was the 7 pine medicine that I did make. So I'm going to give you the remedy for that. And I always say that there are people that know medicine, and there are people that will have to really learn about it. So you do have medicine people that are out there that already know medicine. And so the 7 pine medicine is cedar, white pine, black spruce, white spruce, jack pine, juniper, ground hemlock, tamarack, and it's more than the 7 pines. Okay, so when you're making it, you're looking for the tips of the you're looking for the tips. You don't go and take the whole tree down or cut on the side of the bark, but you're looking for the tips of the young trees, and they have to be young trees, and that's what you're using. And you bake it, and you put them all together. You bake it in olive oil, coconut oil, beeswax. Bake it in the oven at 200 degrees for 2 hours. Lard, sorry, thank you.
Good students.
Yeah, I taught them well. And the lard, tender flake lard. Why is that put in there? Because our grandmothers used that tender flake lard, and that's what they had used to make those medicines long time ago. So you're doing that to have the spirit of the grandmothers in that remedy. So you bake it for 2 hours, and you strain it, pull it out, strain it, put it in your jars, and you use it. Success. All I
Wow.
can say is success, success, success. And
Wow.
people say, why do you give that away? Why do you give that medicine? Why do you give that remedy away? How are we to empower our people? Right?
Yeah.
We got to empower our people. So when we start doing that, we're empowering our people to go back to the ways of thinking Anishinaabe now again.
Mhm.
So that's empowerment. And we give that back to them. So they have to go and learn about it all over again. So that's what I do.
Wow. And plus, do these things ever really just belong to an individual? You know, they
No,
belong to
no.
humanity if it's given in a good
Yeah.
way, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, Esstin, I love you.
Oh, you're the first man that told me that in 6 years.
I mean it. I truly mean it. We could have spent all day with you, but I know your students really need you to want you to come back. So I want to thank you and thank you so much for your students for understanding that, you know, we needed you for this for an hour or so. I want to wish you and your wonderful students a fantastic day. Once again, love and peace to you.
You too. Bon appetit.
See you later.